Hi there, Libra. Welcome to a love reading for people in relationships or exes. This is for July 2025. It's Raina from Tarot Alchemy with Raina Moon. And if you're new to this channel, I have a main channel that is primarily astrology with a little bit of tarot called Raina Moon Astrology. And for the people that have come from my main channel, hi to you too. Very interesting. And with these specific readings that are for relationships, it's important to note that I haven't I think even when I was still watching other people's tarot readings years ago, I never would watch love readings because I was in a relationship and I wasn't, you know, in that process of saying, okay, do I still want to be in this relationship? But when some people are in rocky relationships, I think sometimes they look to a tarot reading to kind of reassure them, to make them say, oh no, don't worry about it. Don't do anything about it. It's just going to magically work itself out. And I can understand that sometimes, life is very, stressful and stuff like that. But I really believe, even though I call my reading spiritual entertainment, but I really want to give people things to think about because I feel like life is meaningful. There's a very important thing that we're trying to do here in life. Well, more than one thing. And so I don't want to just do warm and fuzzies. I want to do things that really make people think about their relationships. And sometimes it may come across as overly negative because I am focused on relationships that are struggling. But even within that, it can be that there are times when maybe a couple is going through a difficult period and they can overcome it. So there's definitely no one, truth for anybody. And this reading certainly is not going to be relevant for everyone. Just for the people that it lands on, this is what this is intended for. The heart of the matter is the Two of Swords. You may be in that, at that time where you're like, okay, this is the crossroads. Do I stay here or do I leave? But the woman has a blindfold. And so it could be that she is, I've said this so many times, that this is a false choice. That it's like if she asked her girlfriend would say, well, duh, of course you should leave. Look at what he did to you. Or if it's another woman, look what she did to you. And the other person would be like, how can you even think of staying? But there are reasons why people think like that. They may have other things that they feel about what is important within their relationship, or if they have a family together, that are part of their consideration. In the past position, we have the Knight of Wands. This can be someone who is very commitment phobic, who is kind of like wild. This is actually connected to Sagittarius. I personally connected the energy to Aries. And the bottom, but those are both fire signs. The bottom, and they would be on paper compatible with a Libra person. But The truth is that this can also be an aspect of yourself where you're no longer willing to play it safe, where if you're afraid to be alone, you may be like, screw it. Maybe you're feeling more independent. Um, you know, if you have Taurus rising as a Libra person, I have Taurus rising myself, not a Libra sun sign, I'm a Sag, but we go by the rising signs. You may very well have some of Gemini too, and Uranus is in your first house of the self, and that can make people more restless, whereas before they may have been more um, content with certain things in their life that were kind of keeping them to stay put. So whether it's geographically where they were staying in the same area and now all of a sudden they just want out, or in a relationship that just feels very confining, doesn't feel like they have freedom, and it just doesn't work for them anymore. It can be in any area of life. The higher message is the Four of Pentacles. This is more of a practical concern, because this can be about managing your money, financial security, those kinds of issues. So the Two of Swords is a decision that you have to make. The Four of Pentacles is looking at your financial reality in light of that. And one of the things that we always have to keep in mind too is that it could be lifestyle, because let's say, and I'm saying this specifically because of Libra, because usually Libra people, they want to live with really nice surroundings, really nice things. Well, if you think about it, you could live in like a McMansion, and you could have all of the latest things and drive the latest model car and be like absolutely miserable. You could live in a studio apartment, like a one-room apartment, and you could be happy as a clam because you're free, because you're in harmony, which is really important to Libra. If you were in a relationship that was contentious, or with somebody who was full of drama and they were always starting arguments, or just they always had a crisis, one crisis after the other, you might feel totally relieved, like your nervous system is calmed down because you're not dealing with that anymore. And you might be much happier. But that could be a concern. What keeps you hooked in is because you're saying, well, how am I going to do this financially? Because you might just have like tunnel vision about like, okay, well, I have to have this and I have to have that. I can't not, live this certain way. And that could affect the way that, the choices that you make, including whether or not you stay or go. What crosses you is the Queen of Cups. This is a card of being psychic, meaning, well, we could just say intuitive. We don't have to say downright psychic. This is also a card that's got like a mothering, nurturing energy. So that could be something that is also playing into things. If you are a parent and you are staying in an unhappy marriage or relationship because of the child or children, this could be, saying that it's misguided, that's not that the role of the parent, this is what I get from it, is to make their children feel safe. And if they're in an environment like that, they may not feel safe. So it's actually doing the very thing that you are trying to protect them from. What's coming in is the Death card. This is irrevocable change. this really points to something being over. And if that makes you feel upset because you were hoping you could make it work, maybe that's why some people, they refuse to take the initiative. Even a sign like Libra, that is a cardinal sign that is all about initiating things, you might resist that because you want to preserve the illusion that it's possible to maintain this relationship, when in fact all signs point against it. And the outcome card is the World card. This is the last card of the major arcana and speaks to the end of an era. And when we look at our life in cycles, it makes it a whole lot more palatable to be able to deal with. The death of a dream, that this could be like the death of a dream. You thought it was going to be this thing that it could never be, or that maybe it showed signs of being one way, but it never quite made it, or something changed. And the more we can gracefully accept these things, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I have astrology readings, I do private tarot readings, I do combination readings. You can check the link below for more information. Thanks for watching. Bye.